Hello, I am the cartoonist M. Rashid. Today's cartoon was inspired by a tweet sent out by the official account of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. The tweet said, "Less integration was a mistake, and more reparations are the solution." And when I saw the tweet for the first time, I felt my face get hot because I felt admonished, because personally, I can rant about that demonic assimilated integrationist tokenism mess for days. Like, it gets me heated, you know. But obviously, the message from the ADOS headquarters is that we've harped on the negative stuff long enough. We already know what the problems are. And now it's time to push the solutions. The solutions have already been identified by the activists from the high level scholarship. We already know what the problems are. We already know how to fix the problems. The bottom line is that the Black American former slave class, the American descendants of slavery, have been prevented from building wealth. We've been the accrued discrimination from slavery all the way up to the present day have prevented us from being able to pass inheritance down through the generations. That our inheritance wealth was stolen from us. That's the problem. So we're in an artificial state of poverty. We're artificially impoverished. My ideological foe enjoys saying that I'm inherently poor and all that stuff. Like, he builds his mythological white supremacist propaganda and evil about me, designed to justify why he does to me what he does. But he built it around the state that they deliberately put me in to make me easier to continue exploiting and plundering. So they deliberately kept me in that position. They've lynched my leaders and top stars and visionaries and stuff over the centuries, and cheated, destroyed our black business districts with the freeway expressway system. Like, they did all kinds of stuff to deliberately hold us down. The nature of systemic racism. That's the problem. The way to fix the problem is the literal opposite. I'm artificially impoverished from stealing from me and economically excluding me from access to the wealth building ownership class. You fix that with reparations, the return of my inheritance wealth. Return my inheritance wealth to me and economically include me into a protected wealth building ownership class. I should be an elite protected ownership class walking with the same thing on them that the Jews walk around with. They made themselves a protected class using the model that the slain civil rights activists created, with them side by side as allies at the time. So they appropriated those plans for themselves, and I find myself pre-COVID study on the road to zero wealth by 2053. That's what allyship did to me. So the only way I can fix the damage is by politically unifying and working the system the way our rivals do. You see them working the system using my same civil rights model from the 60s. They come together, pressure their elected officials, and pressure the government to get what they need for economic and uplift. They successfully work the system, every single one of them, and they all need bodies to do it. And they're using my disenfranchised vote to do it. So I've been disenfranchised from the system. At this moment, the Black American former slave class, except for the people actually inside of the ADOS movement proper, all other Black Americans from our ethnic group are disenfranchised. When we vote for the party, shallowly for the party, with no direction, no political agenda of our own. And because we do that, our rivals and foes take our vote and divvy out where they want it to go. So our rival groups need our vote in order to make the moves that they make for their own come up, while they pretend that I'm already a protected class and I'm already made. So the only way to fix all of this is for me to recognize what's happening, throw off the treachery of flat blackness and the Pan-African grift, and align myself to my unique lineage and heritage as the Black American former slave class. That's my ethnic group. That's my political identity. That's where I sit. And because I'm disenfranchised, I'm starting from scratch. In this nation, I feel I'm the oldest, one of the oldest ethnic groups here. And I'm starting from scratch. I was more politically savvy as a freedman than I am right now. Right now, the average Black American is like, politics don't work. What's the point? That's how we think now. The freedmen were like, politics is everything in order to get me where I need to be. And in those 8 years of Reconstruction, they got their literacy shot up to 40%, and they literally went from slave to congressman during those 8 years using the power of politics. Today, the average African American, Black American, is nowhere near that savvy. We were deliberately disenfranchised and deliberately brainwashed into thinking that the tools that we need the most no longer matter. So I use the term fake deep. They talk a lot at length, but spew no more than what your enemy wants you to spew, and you think you're making original thought and being all extra deep. You attack religion. Religion is what scored you your victories during the civil rights era. The black church led that. So when you talk against it, I gotta dial back or I start cussing again. I don't like seeing you that way. You think you're being deep, and you're doing literally no more than parroting what our enemy wants you to parrot. You attack religion. You're engaging in these gender wars, and it makes me sick to watch it. You're engaging in these gender wars. Black women are like this. Black men are like this. This is an attack against our family. Our family unit is our strongest, most basic unit of measure as a community. It got us through the hardest, most brutal times of our nation's history. People like to say, oh, they split the families up during slavery. Then how come when the slaves were freed, the first thing we did, heartbreakingly, was walk up and down those roads of our nation looking for our separated families? That was the first thing we did. And then we voted. First thing we did was I need my wife. I need my husband. I need my kids. Where are my parents? The first thing we did was gather our families together. Yet here today, I find you attacking your black woman, attacking your black man, and looking stupid in the doing. Stop following the way your enemy wants you to be, because no one is benefiting from it except him. Stop vilifying your religion. Stop vilifying each other. Unify politically and work the system so that we get our reparations and be free of this mess and walk as the elite protected class that we're supposed to be. Everybody else is doing it around us, and they are all pretenders to the throne. That's where we're supposed to be. We built this country. So, in the state we're in now, starting from scratch, we're disenfranchised. And, I differentiate inside of my cartoon characters for my Weapon of the People Decoded editorial series. When I insert myself as the cartoonist versus when I insert my activist character. These are two completely separate characters, because sometimes my own opinions may not necessarily jive with the hardcore activism. My personal opinion about allyship is we are at an extremely vulnerable state right now. We are scattered lone wolves. We're excluded from access, and we don't realize that we are how important it is to politically unify and work that system. We're still under that bamboozle that politics is for him and not for us. And in this vulnerable state, if we reach out for allies to help, you have to recognize that he wants the protected class that we deserve. Any of them. Any ally, whatever political identity group it would be, you want to put in that role, all of them want the protected class that you deserve. That's your natural right as the Black American former slave class. It was denied you. The 40 acres and the mule was when it was first voiced. They knew what you were owed and withheld it from you by putting those monsters back in power, killing the president. They all know where you're supposed to stand, and they all want to stand there because they know what it means. You catch a glimpse of it by how the Jews stand. You are supposed to be the protected elite of the United States of America. That's where you're supposed to be. So in your current vulnerable state, when you reach out to others, all they see is that cartoon chicken dinner, and get right in your face with all these promises and stuff, and wait for you to make moves and come up with strategies and stuff, and just take it for themselves for their own come up, and you're still a wealthless bottom cast when the smoke clears. Where the allies go? You cannot have an ally right now. Your first step is to get over to ADOS Advocacy Foundation, learn what you need to learn in community with one another, and build yourself up. That's step one. And then however long it takes, once you're there, then you can, as a group, interconnect with other groups for mutual benefit. You cannot do that when you're separated like a bunch of individualist lone wolves. All your power going to other people. Your power dormant being used by others. That's where you are right now. And any so-called ally is only going to take advantage of you. Guaranteed. I don't care who it is. Individuals matter not. What matters is the groups. They will see you, pretend to be your friend, and take, plunder, exploit, as they've been doing for the last 400 years. Allyship is not for you right now. It is your foe right now. There are no allies. You get together yourselves, build yourselves up, get with the ADOS leadership and find out what that looks like and perfect it so it cannot be taken apart. And then start building. Then you can interconnect with successful relationships with other groups. You cannot do that now. There are no allies. The Fiend certainly is not your ally. How many times are you going to play that game? Step 1, come together as a group, aligned along your unique lineage and heritage. Immigrants that wear your face are not your friends. And we'll address that in another series of videos shortly. For now, you have no allies. It's just you. Single vision, single focus. Politically unify along your unique lineage and heritage as the descendants of the former slave class of the United States of America. Do this and use your vote for you. Use the equity you've built into this Democratic Party for you. Please. Peace.